Here is an uncommon thought. I believe most people think that Bitcoin and Ethereum and the altcoins, they pretty much move in the same direction at the same time, all the time, and this will continue forever. I believe there will be a decoupling happening. I believe that Bitcoin will decouple itself from Ethereum and the altcoins. And the reason for that is the Bitcoin ETF. I believe that the kind of investor that gets into Bitcoin now tends to be very different from the kind of investor that gets into Ethereum and the altcoins. Because on the one hand, you simply might just want crypto exposure, right? You've got your stock portfolio, you've got maybe your precious metals, you've got your property. All of those things move up and down at different times of any kind of cycle. They're not really highly correlated. But when you've got all of that, you might also want to get some exposure to crypto, right? And if you do that, you might want to do this via Bitcoin because that's the most proven of the cryptocurrencies. And so when you're set up like this, you might simply just take the Bitcoin ETF, or you could even do self-custody, but you might very likely just stick with Bitcoin. So the people that get into Bitcoin seem to be very different from the people that try to beat the market, that want to play this player versus player game, right? The altcoin trading market is simply a market of information. It's a market of figuring out the data in a better way, in a more precise way than the average investor. If you know to a degree how to measure momentum better, if you can identify altcoins that will be hyped, that are not yet hyped, but that are currently building their momentum, if you can do this fast, then you've got an edge over the rest of the market. If you know that an influencer might be talking about a certain altcoin, then you can buy early together with the influencer. You can track wallets, for example, and then buy with them, and then wait till this promotion on the YouTube channel or in their premiums happens, right? So there's ways to play the game, player versus player in the altcoin market, but this seasoned investor that holds all these other asset classes isn't interested in this. And so money won't necessarily flow over from Bitcoin to the rest of the market. It actually used to flow over. So that's a very interesting thing to look at. When you look at the number of wrapped Bitcoin there is, so not the regular Bitcoin, but the wrapped version of it on the Ethereum chain. When you look at how many native Bitcoin had been wrapped and ported over to the Ethereum chain, we had a massive rise up until the FTX collapse. So DeFi was rising, a lot of money was flowing from Bitcoin to the rest of the crypto market, and a lot of Bitcoin got wrapped. Then FTX collapsed, and then a bunch of things happened. Of course, DeFi as a whole deflated. Decentralized finance wasn't that hip anymore. The stablecoin market caps also went down, so a lot of people redeemed their stablecoins for actual fiat currency, and prices, of course, of crypto as a whole went down. This then started to turn around for the stablecoin market cap. So since October of last year, stablecoin market caps are going up again, and so more and more speculation in all kinds of altcoins happens. But we do not see that the number of wrapped Bitcoin is going up again. So people are not depositing their Bitcoin, wrapping it in order to use it as collateral in DeFi anymore. So the Bitcoin demand is very different from the altcoin demand. The Bitcoin demand is mainly ETF demand. The altcoin demand is mainly coming from those fiat deposits to centralized exchanges, right? This is how it works. You have some money spare, you want to speculate with it, you deposit it on a centralized exchange. The centralized exchange then sends it over to Tether. Tether prints the token, and the token printing or the token minting, we can then see on chain. So we can see how much Tether is flowing. So those two segments of the market, they are currently expanding, but they're expanding for very different reasons. Bitcoin is simply expanding, it's going up because of the ETF demand, because of those seasoned investors that just want to diversify. Altcoin demand is very different. People simply just want to get the next bonk or the next Shiba Inu or whatever it is, right? So I do believe that because of that, we will see more and more of a decoupling in the price movements. So when Bitcoin goes up, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that the altcoins are going up or that Ethereum is going up, and vice versa, right? When the altcoins are going up, might have no impact on Bitcoin whatsoever. Now there's an interesting coupling though that will stay persistent in my opinion, and that's between Ethereum and the altcoins. There was always higher correlation between altcoins and Ethereum than between altcoins and Bitcoin. That was always the case. But I believe that the correlation between, say, altcoin and Bitcoin will go down more, and that the correlation between altcoins and Ethereum will stay high and will not change much. And the reason for that is trading again. The way how altcoins are measured, the way how altcoins are valued very often is in direct comparison to Ethereum. So when you go to a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, you very often swap your asset to the altcoin. You do this indirectly through an indirect mechanism. So the altcoin is normally paired in something called a liquidity pool together with wrapped Ethereum. So we have directly a connection between the Ethereum price and the altcoin price. So what happens is, say you have got your USDC or your Tether in your wallet, you swap it against the altcoin. What then happens in the background is that your USDT will be swapped to Ethereum, and then Ethereum will be swapped to the altcoin. But the altcoin itself is in a liquidity pool with the wrapped Ethereum. That's why we have to do this two-step process. What that then means is when Ethereum goes up in price, in US dollar valuation, that as a direct consequence, because the altcoin is directly coupled with Ethereum, the altcoin goes also up in price to the same degree. Let's say Ethereum goes up 10%, then all the altcoins that are coupled one-on-one to Ethereum also go up by 10%, independent of whether or not the altcoin has been traded or not. So this is a very interesting thing to understand. What this also means is that in case at some point in time in the future, we actually will see an approval of the Ethereum ETF, because BlackRock and Vanguard already applied for that. In case we do see that at some point, that the altcoins will benefit from this massively as well, because then the capital from the traditional guys, right, from the old season investors that just invest in ETFs, they are directly contributing to the value appreciation of the entire altcoin market. So this will really accelerate the rally massively, right? Because then the trading can really start, the illiquid altcoins can really push higher, and this will help even much more the entire crypto market than the current Bitcoin ETF. The Bitcoin ETF flows, the Bitcoin funds, they are very much isolated right now. Not a lot of money from those Bitcoin gains currently flows to the altcoins, and who knows if they ever will. But if an Ethereum ETF gets approved, this will be absolutely massive. Will it happen? I don't know. I hope for it, of course, but I can't look into the people's minds. I don't know what Gary Gensler is thinking. I don't know who will win the election. Apparently, the Republicans are a bit more pro-crypto, but who knows what will happen once they really get elected. It's very, very exciting to follow this closer in the next weeks, months, or maybe years if we are unlucky. If it's the first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. Cheers.